It's Smoko time for us, and this morning, as per usual, I was asked by some visitors, how good is the dog's nose? What kind of things can they smell? And I'm always looking for different ways to explain to people just how amazing it is. And I got some inspiration from the news last night as members from Parliament were discussing festivals and drugs and pill testing. And it got me thinking about some experiences I had when I was younger with some unsavoury characters and some other things I saw in the media. Now, one of the first things that comes to mind and I get asked about is, can you put something that smells a lot around the drugs, like coffee or lemon zest, and then hide it in your body or around your body and not have the dog find it? It doesn't work for a couple of reasons. Dogs smell in layers. They smell everything. They don't get overwhelmed by something like coffee. So when you walk past them and you have that concealed in you, the dog doesn't just smell coffee and go, move him along. The dog smells coffee and lube and latex and MDMA and everything else that the seventh planet away from the sun usually smells like. The dog sits next to that person's butt and says, I'll have my reward, he's in trouble. Now, the other reason that doesn't work is because dogs are a neophilic creature. That means they like new things. They're naturally going to check out something that smells out of context. So when you've got lemon zest in your pocket with some drugs, the dog smells that from a long way away and goes, usually the men around here smell like Lynx Africa. Why does he smell like lemon zest? Let's go check it out. And then you are in trouble. And you're going to have ahead of you some more metaphorical and probably physical pains in the butt. So the dogs in that situation, they're finding it very easy. Now, we do hear of times when the dogs apparently get it wrong. And I saw this in the media a lot last year, is that 3 out of 4 alerts from drug dogs at festivals don't result in seizures. In other words, they're saying the dogs are wrong, they're making mistakes. And I've got a few theories and I know a couple of things to be true around why that low seizure rate may happen. I'll give you some insight. The first one is people have often taken drugs, all right? The drugs are being absorbed into their body and they smell like it, and they have on them what we call residual odour. Dogs can be trained not to respond to residual odour, but some dogs find it irresistible. And some handlers don't mind if the dogs do it. So the dogs aren't necessarily wrong there. In the same sort of vein, often notes in your wallet have been used for snorting things like cocaine and speed. So they'll have residual odour or a very small amount of drugs on them. And again, dogs can be trained not to respond to low volumes or residual, but sometimes it's deemed as a positive thing. The other thing that can happen is that dogs can be encouraged or can be trained to respond to certain volumes of prescription meds. If you have something like endone, which is an opiate on you, or Xanax that often is associated with drug use, the dogs may alert to that. And again, that can be a good thing. If it's your prescription, that's fine. But if you have 50 or 100 of them on you at a festival, you're up to no good. So the dogs have done a good job in that sense. But again, they may not always result in seizures. So the other one, though, that we hear a bit about is profiling from the handler and probably a little bit from the dog. So the handler has often had a lot of success with young men that have long hair, tattered clothes, Converse 1-stars, a canvas bag that smells like bong water. And so when the handler spots that guy in the crowd, he sprints over there. And the dog's excited because the handler's excited, and they run over him without even thinking. The dog sits. Now, sometimes that'll result in success, and the dog will be reinforced for just offering that behaviour up around the John Butler lookalikes. But sometimes that bloke won't have any pot on him, and that is a mistake. Mistakes happen, so that's not the end of the world, and it can easily be trained out of the dog. But go easy on them. I think show some understanding to the fact that this is deemed as an exercise that is trying to keep people safe and trying to keep drugs out of festivals. And drugs are bad, okay?